This is your daily market review for Thursday, January 26th, 2023.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at eXp Realty, aka the Trading Agent. This is your daily market recap for Thursday, January 26th, 2023. Hopefully you are surviving, you are managing risk, you are aware of what's going on to the best of your abilities, and not putting your money at risk beyond what you're willing to lose. Again, we try to treat this like a business. Trading is not always easy. We make it look easy after the fact things start, but people don't remember the times that it is to getting into a trade, how things set up. And that's always the hardest part with swing traders. And I always tell this to people that whatever you think you see on the 10-minute feels like forever for an inflection point, sometimes on the daily, that's how it feels like. And so you get a lot of emotions potentially if you're getting caught in things, but it is what it is, right? Like instant gratification versus like patience and understanding and knowing. So interesting after hours, just kind of perusing the headlines. Intel crap, KL 10 core crap. What was it? Hasbro guides down huge, cutting jobs. All great news, right? I guess it's time for the market to rip higher. We'll see. Again, this is what makes this so hard. And please, this is where if you're listening to this for the first time or you've been listening for years, be thoughtful. Like the market seems wrong, but it can be wrong more than you can stay solvent. And this is why I think people who've traded gold or some of the harder metals, materials, actions, metals, whatever, commodities, start to realize that there is like you think you're right until you're not. And sometimes things change. And I think that's what's the hardest part about trading, right? We talk about that all the time. So it seems like, especially like the chips here, as Eric's talking about below, that there's going to be a absolute glut of chips. And now if government's subsidizing them for Intel, like that's just, and all these American companies, that's going to be bad. So now you're going to spend money to build more chip capacity that's not needed as the market and economy is slow. Again, the evidence presenting itself to me feels toppish. I've said it a million times, not going to like beat a dead horse, but it doesn't mean it has to turn over yet. We talked about this for weeks, potential choppiness, resolving higher. Remember when everyone else was bearish, we were buying? Well, now everybody's buying, and it feels very similar to August and July, how that kind of got wild, and we'll go over that. Those points, everybody got bullish again right before the drop. I've said this, and please take note of this. Don't forget this. You're not going to see a bear market end until the VIX at least spikes into the 50s, y'all. We haven't seen anything close to that. So it might take time, but the bear market ain't over. I'm just telling you right now. You can bank that. Take that to the bank. And again, when I say bear market, meaning we're not going to rip back to new highs. We're going to be chopping around, acting sluggish with and again, remember the straight line move, like slam is the end. So just keep that in mind. All right, if you want to be part of the Discord room, hit me up. Best place to do it, Twitter on messages, where we're dropping what we're up to, what we're thinking, what's going on. If you are interested, again, hit me up. Appreciate all the subscribes, likes, retweets, whatever. All that stuff is cool. It's not required. I appreciate it though. Again, when the student's ready, the teacher will be found. When the student is ready, the teacher appears, right? Educational videos, check them out. YouTube. I mean, this is another one. Like, subscribe, get the notification bells because I do live chats a couple times a week. I think it's well worth it. These videos, I mean, I even have to rewatch them just to make sure I'm not like missing things again, because I have like a lot of detailed notes, but you just can't remember everything. That's what I tell people. You got to know the market all the time. And that's why I recommend always listening to Livermore books like over and over and over and over again. The audio is great because at a certain point, every time you listen to it, something pops up that's relevant to the time in the market that you're in. Because again, the market participants don't change. Maybe the market changes here and there, but the participants are still idiots, and it's still gamblers, and it's still FOMO, and it's still all the same emotions. Our wiring is still not to our benefit. Remember, the market takes the most amount of money from the most amount of people because our wiring is, in fact, garnered to lose, essentially. So anyway, Bitcoin. That action looks blow off topish. Remember the long wicks previously? I was kind of looking back, and it's like, yeah, I think it'll tend to have long wicks before it fails. Does it need one more long wick? I don't know. Again, how low does it go? This is where all or nothing trading. If you took some profit and it pulls back harder, you don't feel so bad. And if it does pull back lightly and you want to add, you can do it with tighter stops. It's not hard. Oil, chopping between the old trend line and the upside of this little baby channel. Again, I think you get it in the mid 80s. The big problem is ultimately going to, we said this over and over, why I think inflation is going to get worse. CPI, inflation, whatever, is anchoring in around 6%. And you've never seen the Feds win the inflation battle without getting the interest rate above the rate of inflation. If inflation anchors in at 6%, they're going to have to get much higher. Just telling you that right now. If somehow drops and oil crashes and they let stuff drop like it should, deflation for once, we'll find the bottom way quicker. I can guarantee that. If not, it's going to get sloppy and choppy with high inflation. Nat gas, we're there. Channel lows, waiting for it. And made a kind of a joke, like if you wanted to short anything, like this would be, every pop was a short. I mean, you literally every day, the next day you would get paid essentially, other than maybe those three. Yeah, it's pretty brutal. It is extreme. Now I'm even seeing people talking about, oh, it's just so low I have to buy it. What do we know about the, it's so low we got to buy it kind of mentality? It's probably going to stay low. That's the problem. When this is actually at the bottom, could be wrong. It could bounce here first before I'm right. The sentiment usually has to be like, no one wants it. I don't think we're there yet. Just keep that little tidbit in the back of your mind. Because I'm telling you, like, the market makers have a psychology too that they use against us, right? It's how we got into gold on the initial, earlier in the trade for the long. Like, it just made sense. Like, nobody wanted it. Literally nobody wanted gold, but the price action found a bottom. Remember that? I'll show you again here in a little bit. Dollar. I think it's bottoming, y'all. I think it's bottoming. I know the volume really isn't great, but you have your novice gap capitulation. Someone had stopping power, and sometimes you go a little lower. And we've talked about that because that can happen on inflection points sometimes. What is it? You get like this, the higher node. Yeah, here you go. You had the buying down here, for example, but then it went slightly lower, then it turned around, right? Somebody had to stop this right there, right? You see that? So does it mean it has to stop that day? That's why you got to study the past. No. But now we're basing out slightly lower. It feels like it's ready. TLT, here's my worry again. I think interest rates are going to go higher and the market's not going to like it. It's getting stuck. Lower highs. This thing might be about to curl. And I'm not talking about like arm curls. Fear the pump. No, I'm talking about like curl over and roll over. Like rover, come over. It's time to go lower. Like this could be a big M pattern. See you back in the 92s. I'm telling you, the market would not like higher interest rates. The VIX, speaking of like what the market's not going to like and what can help out and watch. This volatility, I mean, keep in mind, this is where I feel like some people lose faith in what I do and teach because I'm not always right. But then they remember, oh, wow, you were right about some pretty awesome, insane things that no one else saw. Remember we talked about, if this failed here, this was, A, not the end of the bear market, but also, 2, B, the market was going to have upside. Look at that. And then we said, be careful. It might not rally aggressively for a little while. Okay, well, what have we said now? So I don't know why I'm doing the sounds. We talked about it capitulating and chopping out. Well, again, every time you get down towards the low 18s, I think the VIX has to be bought. And it may have probably needed to be bought today, honestly, looking after hours with all the how bad Intel is. That's all I got to say here. Market might dump tomorrow, and it might open the door, which would make sense because everybody's gotten so damn excited. Like everyone is so happy and saying, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to be like a buzzkill, but everyone's saying, oh, the trend line's broke, the bear market's over, the bull market's starting, and it's like, honestly, not until again, I've seen some better data, but it's not deflationary data that I'm seeing. GDP 2.8%, whatever that number was. Where they pull that number other than Ukraine spending? Durable orders, mediocre. New home sales down another 5%, or new homes sales down another 5%. I mean, the GDP 2. I don't believe that for a second unless it's all Ukraine spending. I mean, everyone I talk to is laying off people. And it's just starting. Again, that's why I'm telling you. I think there's going to be a middle ground to buy some real estate here in a little bit. Either the Fed's going to pivot and pump, or you're going to see an absolute disaster. We'll see. I mean, this is the thing. The Fed, but you're not going to figure that out at the next meeting next week. You might get a drop because of they say, well, we're going to continue to do rates because we haven't seen anything, or we're going to continue to raise rates because we haven't seen anything to change course. But all right, here you are, back in the range. I'm amazed it's closed there. And again, this is people like, oh, you're wrong. It's like, yeah, we told you to short here, told you to take profits, said you could start layering. Well, here's today's action on this gap up on Tesla's earnings, which, again, if you read any of this stuff, it's not good. But here's the question about the market that can make it look confusing. If it's not good, will it get worse or will it get better? And that's why I think a lot of people live in the past when the market's trying to understand earnings. And that's where it could be, you could get that rally into March like we talked about. Or it could be a chop and, up and down until March. Just keep that in mind. So when I look at this, I go, you can't be bearish in the sense of this action doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be bearish. Because when you see a 3-day range and you gap up, this wick is interesting because you had a novice gap potential and fill. We talked about that, but look where it closed. But here's the problem, right? We're in earnings. Here's the problem. You're going to have some end of month profit taking because if you think about it, look at the last day of the month, right? Where was it? Right here. Pretty strong month. People will probably be locking in profits. Clearly shorts have, but they didn't really have any, honestly. We'll see. I mean, we've talked about maybe 410 to 415 up here. Someone's going to have to actually have good earnings, in my opinion, to lift up. Because I'm not seeing, like, even IBM today. Oh, my God. Slaughter. Anyway. It's going to be interesting to see what happens next week. Let's just put it at that. QQQ, obviously, trash leads the last leg up. We talk about the trash floats. Right? Well, there's your trash floating. Right? 200-day. We talked about it. If it got, watched it this morning. Closed right at it. People are going to start arguing this is a double bottom, long-term bottom. Okay. We'll see. I personally don't believe it. Last time we got, come on, show the 200-day. Yeah. Remember, you got a little above it. I think I remember we talked about this trade. Like, we didn't get the very top, but we got the retest, and then it was pow. Another good trade. People don't realize we had a really good year last year. This year, okay. Not great. Could be better. Here we go. See what happens. Keep it simple, stupid. IWM. All right. We talk about finally the IWM needs to lag. You're back up at the range highs from from November. Look at today's candle. I'm a little concerned about that because you would think if the market was going to go higher, IWM and SPY are so good, QQQ are real good, this would be leading. It's getting real indecisive up here. Now I know it's slightly higher high and it could be thought as leading. Look at the action though. Right? QQQ, full green candle. What was today? Doji City. Dia. Started pulling this one in recently because I'm like, man, this has been lagging. Remember, market peaked in December. This thing peaked in December, and we're just making lower highs. Again, things that you got to be careful about. Gold, finally, it has happened to me. No, here it is. Remember we talked about, and here's a reference. Like, you just had to buy gold because everyone hated it, and it just kept basing out. Well, here you are. You're back at, like, way important time levels, right? This 180, I guess it's like 1950 to 1930, whatever, on the gold contract. This end, and again, we talk about straight line movements. If you kind of churn your way up, it's easier. But as soon as you start getting really straight line, you're going to have to start expecting bigger volatility, right? Because bigger ups also means bigger downs. We'll see what happens here. I'd love to see it just pull back to 175, maybe 170, 168, maybe the 200-day. I don't know. But remember, the second quarter is not friendly. Not friendly to gold. Will it be this year? I don't know, but I doubt it. I just have, again, that sneaky feeling. Silver. Everybody loves it, but it just opened up, closed, right flat. You would think if gold's really got the energy to rise, why does silver look like it's getting distributed? Looks like it's getting distributed. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. GDX hit our upper channel range, or our upper range highs. Pulling back. And if you got dust under 11, around 11, know your stop, but this thing could go bye-bye. Absolutely get smoked here. Because again, if the market pulls back, miners ain't going to be safe. I'm telling you right now, they ain't safe. And we're going to earnings. Usually miners crap the bed during earnings. This looks distributed. Another red candle. More the red candles up here starting to show more volume. Watch out, GDXJ. AG, here's another one. You would think Pan American, it's not Pan, sorry. First Majestic would be maybe mid-9s, upper 9s, 10s. No, this thing is ugly. Something's going on here, y'all. AEM. Getting up towards the range highs. We'll see what happens. Newmont. Sneaky, sneaky. Gets to the very high part of what we consider probably the range. And if you're like, what range are you talking about? Yeah, right here. You see it. And then what? Today, opens high, comes down a little bit. On a day where the market's up, what's going on, Newmont? Put it on your watch list. PAAS. Channel, 200-day. Long-term channel. This one is an oldie. Go back in time. Back in time. We're there. Does it matter now? We shall see. I mean, I personally think it probably will. AM Dizzle. Let's get into some tech because this is where it gets fun. This is so fun. AMD. Gonna be down at 72 at the open tomorrow, right? At probably, I don't know. Here you go at the 8-day old range highs. Talked about how I love to play little games at the highs. This game right here could be the gap and go. Again, I have no faith in semiconductors. I've explained this to people 1,000 times. If you don't remember the 2000s and other semiconductor bubble burst, once the supply gets crazy, and again, they overproduce, and now you got government subsidizing of chips. And if you have an economic slowdown, it's like pumping too much oil and the price just falls like a rock. Well, here's the difference between chips and oil. It's like oil, yeah, it can always be used, but chips, man, they will, they lose their capacity to be, cutting edge pretty quickly in this world that we live in. And so what happens is the low end chip prices just start cutting and dropping and dumping, and it pulls the whole chain down. And that's why you've seen AMD, if you don't study the past, like it's had 90% drops off the highs, right? Like it's multiple times. It could be crazy. Just throwing that out there. NVIDIA. Here you go. Top of the range highs. We'll see another little, hammer day. SMH. Let's see what that's at after hours. Okay, 236. Okay, about ran yesterday's low. I mean, we're coming into the trend in the 0.618. Like, there's zero doubt in my mind that it's going to find resistance up there. It's just when does it start to peel? Adobe's chopping, making slightly higher highs, getting back up there. So higher highs over this stuff. 200-day gap fill. It's probably going to struggle. Apple up at the 100-day. Yes. 0.382. Yes. Looks like it's breaking the trend line. Oh, no. Okay. Interesting. Right? So you got this is going to be a problem here. It's the next VAP zone, too. You can see it straight right in here. We'll see. Good luck. Right? Good luck. Because I would remiss to just remind people earnings is coming. Be careful with this one. Amazon. Wow, this thing got up to 99 today. Heck yeah. We talked about it probably coming up to this range highs. Bought it. Sold it. Watched it. At this point, it's got to get over this 9,900. If not, maybe if it can, it could probably retest these reference points from down here. As you can see, up at 100. Close enough for government. We're going to just pull it across. It might all line up together. You don't know. CRM getting some love from the buyout community. Again, price to earnings, whatever future. I don't know. You're talking about fundamentals. I'm like, yeah, but this company's always had decent revenue growth. I just don't know how bad it is going forward, but somebody took a piece of the action. Things that aren't bearish. Google's chopping, holding at the trend line 0.382. Things that you don't know. Meta rallies on Trump being allowed back on Facebook, like, yeah, I wonder how often he's going to post. Wonder how that's all of a sudden you get everybody who hates Meta because of, or Facebook because of them booting him, just all of a sudden be like, we forgive you. We're coming back with open arms. We look forward to having a conversation. No, those people are gone. They're not coming back. They ain't coming back. So this rise feels like a joke. We haven't seen the distribution just yet, but it might come from earnings. Who knows? Under a little heat today. Today's action was not fun. Set your stops. Know your limits. I'm hoping tomorrow we'll get a reprieve. Maybe trade around the action or, God forbidding, be the start of the move. Microsoft, yeah, here the earnings, the rally's back. I mean, go look at the month that we said. This thing has just started its slide long term. Does it mean it can't get? I mean, remember, it got to the 200-day after hours. Got to 256, right? No, let me look at the 254.86. Yeah, over the 200-day. Now it's popping back. I mean, CNBC is going to pump this. This is one of those names that in like 20 years when it's still at 248, you're going to be like, whoa, why did I buy that? NDAQ, interesting rally today. I mean, I think it got an upgrade, which is a joke considering how bad it's going to be. Volume is not going to be trading on this exchange at some point. No one, oil, gas, commodity companies are not going to be trading on the NASDAQ. They're going to be listed with the NYSE. So I don't think anyone's coming to this, and NASDAQ is going to change their marketing. So this this exchange is dead money. Dead money to me long term. MicroStrategy said, watch this today. It wasn't really acting that good. Opened high, closed mid. It should have been higher, right? Netflix, same kind of thing. Like, got up there and then just pulled right back. Names I'd keep an eye on. I think someone asked something about Netflix. What did they say? Can you do something about this on Netflix? What was the question? I think... Oh, sorry. Someone asked something about Netflix. I can't remember who it was. I'm looking at the Discord room if you're wondering. There's always... Dang, disappeared. I can't find it. Roblox. But again, I think Netflix... Again, I've got a very small short on Netflix right now. It's just enough to, like, keep me interested. Looking to pound. Just might be too late. Or it'll be, like, the continuation gap that I'll probably jump on. Roblox, this doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. It's chopping here. Should be higher. All right, Tesla, congratulations on your earnings, I guess, how awesome they were. Big volume doji at the 0.618. Good luck. I mean, if you were going to say this is the professional gap to start the move, I'm pretty sure it was down here. So this probably is more of a novice gap. Because again, ideally on a big novice, if a professional gap, just like a gap down, trying to think of like a Tesla professional gap where we're like topped out. I'm trying to see another one because there's gaps down low. You get some of that chop action. Yeah, man, this one's a tricky one. This is what always scares me. I remember this one with Tesla. Like, it just gets real tight. Bigger volume comes in. Now, could it go higher? I guess if the market floats up. If not, this thing could be, think about it, 60% rise. On what? Who knows? All right, materials. Let's try to rip through these. X popped up. US Steel had good results. The market at least thought so. Nice little pop up. You'd think it would be a little stronger. Nucor up 8.39% today. That looks pretty dang good. Coming back up towards the highs. Again, steel. People need it. VALE, nice little pop today. Back up into the monthly, the long-term trend line. Let's see what happens here. Again, materials just flipped on their head today. Arrow, they look better, some look worse, right? Some don't look at all, like anything. Like gold material, certain copper, certain things don't look great. Some things did, like steel names, right? Alcoa was down, right? Didn't make sense. Chopping, we'll see. CCJ, it's been ripping up uranium. That pulled back today. Opened high, closed. That doesn't look, it's not good. CF, and got that, sneaky little hope for it to fail. Chopping under the 20-day. Mosaic hanging out here, trying to touch 50 and hang out. Just seems to, remember that day was total bogus. Under the 100-day. NTR, a little better today. Up $2.50 over the 100-day, making new highs. Is it going to go back after that gap at 83? That's what I'd be watching for. AA, you'd think this would be up today. No, just kind of hanging out, chopping, just kind of boring. Boring. Just keep that in mind. Let's get into the financials. XLF back nearer the range highs, but not there yet. Not really leading. Chopping will be interesting. JP Morgan, bad is good. Pops back up. I mean, it's holding up here. We'll see what happens. I mean, this 140 area is always important. Morgan Stanley gapped up on its worsening guidance, and then's been kind of making lower lows and lower highs every day, or lower trend since. Not exactly perfect. Goldman got, I think, did they get an upgrade today? I don't know. They finally broke over the multi-day range after their terrible earnings. Terrible. All right, we'll see what happens here. I mean, these things that actually look bullish, just keep that in mind. XBI, you would think this would be up, so this is like mixed. There's tons of mixed baggage here. Opens high, closes low, hits the fib again. We'll see. Tan, flat. Not really looking all that hot. ENPH has just been a dog holding down here. I mean, Pop's probably any short. Sedge holding up better, kind of like for solar. Chopping. First solar hits, man, back test the trend line again. Oh, no, it didn't get, I got close enough. All right, yeah, gets up to that 1 center, then backs off. Sneaky. I mean, if you look at the hourly, it looks like it's just like a lower chop zone, right? You have this, let me see, I'll pull this over. You guys can see what I'm looking at. It's just the double hump, right? You have your head and shoulders, top, fail, and then it just keeps hitting this 1 center. I mean, you got to watch that, but you also got to watch this range, right? The hourly on this thing is actually pretty clean if you really want to draw on it. I mean, you can see why we said 161. Man, we got so close twice. But it is what it is now. Moving forward, I mean, I still think these things are absolute shorts, right? Absolute shorts. Nothing changed. HYG, just throw this in there for a second. You know, you'd think corporate debt would be acting better. Kind of stuck. And with the oil names holding up okay, right? Oil is flatlining. UNG, I mean, someone's like, you got to check out the volume today. I'm like, can't not see it, right? Can't not see it. So at this point, again, I don't really like the volume on these things. Are always hard to track because they can be all the reverse splits and all the junk that goes on over time. Good. I can't process it. I don't know. If you want to buy nat gas, I just don't know if I trust it. XOP up, not being led by ExxonMobil, but not everyone following. Retesting 145. Man, that's a long wick too. I mean, it's a good close. Can't argue with it. I mean, Chevron spending $75 billion on buybacks. Well, clearly they don't think they need to invest in oil. That's good for long-term capacity. ExxonMobil gaps up to new all-time highs, monthly trend line. Check it out for yourself. We there. Not a bad close. PXD, you would think this would be up. Flat. Interesting, right? Occidental up, finally catching a little bit. But what? It's not really making new highs. It's hard to... Is Exxon doing its own thing? Like EQT down 12 cents today. Doesn't look that good. All right, if you have any questions, please reach out. I know this is hard. I understand completely. If you think trading is easy and meant to pay you, then your mentality is to the same kind of person who would go and do what? A casino and just think they'd never lose. Like, this is the part of trading that has to be acknowledged. You have to be humble. You have to be smart. You have to be thoughtful. And I mean, sometimes, if this doesn't work out and I get stopped out tomorrow, I'm probably going to take a couple days off because that's what's best. I mean, nothing is going to change between now and the Feds if the market doesn't like the PCE data and personal income spending, pending home sales tomorrow. Like, if that pulls the market up, I mean, I'm done. Giving up for a little bit. Let it play out. Maybe it ends up being the top. It's like kind of like gold. I knew that. As soon as I got stopped out, I had to look for my re-entry. Look what it did. It punched me. I'll be watching it. Got a little bit of, again, I got some like calls or not calls, puts that probably expire worthless. We'll see what happens. All right, you got any questions? Let me know. Always here for you. You're not alone. Again, Students Ready Teacher will appear, but you got to be willing to do the work. You got to challenge yourself. They say a 1 degree trajectory change out over time takes you to a whole different place. Like, that's how you have to start thinking. Like, your thought process has to change ever so little to get to tweaked to get to the point where you're going to want to get to. The market's just always going to be that. So, all right, have a good night. I will talk to you guys and gals later. Peace.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.